Hi, I'm Matt with Direct Action Everywhere. Today we're going to take a look at a clip from the YouTube channel Secular Talk. Here we have host Kyle Kulinski with his friend Corwin, and they're going to discuss veganism.
Veganism. I was thinking about veganism. That's where, basically to ruin it here and fucking give a horrible definition to it. But it's like, you don't eat stuff that's has anything to do with animals, really. It's like you don't want to be involved in this system of eating stuff that involves us humans, like slaughtering shit. And it just feels wrong when, like, you and I, obviously we eat meat, we eat sometimes very bad diets, but it's like,
yeah,
I was thinking about veganism, and the thing is, from a moral perspective, I get it. Like, I think they're right from a moral perspective. Like, to make a decision that I'm not gonna eat anything that has anything to do with animals, that does make you more, like, socially conscious and aware. But the thing that I struggle with is just, I can't fucking do it. I'm so heavy culturally raised in a scenario where I do eat meat. I love fucking Philly cheesesteaks. I love cheeseburgers. I love chicken sandwiches. We could go down the list. While it is morally correct, it's not enough of a driving force to make me reverse all the stuff I already know and love.
You could probably make an argument to a vegan. They're like, oh, I only eat this and that. And they're like, but there's probably something got killed for this or something.
Yeah, no, I kind of, I see where they're coming from, man. I do. Like, I like the idea that, I like the fact that they exist. I like the fact that they're trying not to, eat stuff that is involved with animals. I think a lot of people probably should do that. I just struggle with it. But also, I think that they are, and according to a lot of them too, they'll say, look, by and large though, they're too preachy as a group. Like, they know, like, no, I am way more moral than you because of what I'm doing and what I'm eating and how I'm living. So, like, they'll look down on you and, be super aggressive in it if you talk to real hardcore vegans. And it's like, well, I'm not sure you're gonna, the way they come off when they talk like that, you're not gonna convert anybody, Like, I see, this is coming from somebody, I sympathize with them, I see where they're coming from, and I'm giving them credit for actually being more moral than somebody like me, but I can't...
They gotta rub it in your face.
I'm too far gone already, yeah, and to throw it in people's faces and be like, well, I eat tofu instead of this, okay, all right, buddy, but the fall back a little bit, I hear you, I think you're better with your diet, but... don't, and that's the thing, I would never call for, what are you going to do, fucking ban meat? No, what you got to do is have laws in place that have, and I know it sounds ridiculous to say, but I think it's true, humane lifestyles. Like, okay, so instead of having fucking cows or pigs or whatever cooped up in a cage where they live horrendous lives and they're miserable and all day long, yeah, buy free-range cows, whatever, chickens.
Lots to discuss here. Now, first of all, I want to say that I really enjoy this channel personally. I watch it a lot. I think that Kyle is really entertaining and he makes a lot of sense. He says, well, vegans on whole, they're too preachy, he says. And this is just really gross. This is a distraction. We're blaming the messenger. This is akin to people on Fox News who will say, well, Black Lives Matter, they're not protesting in the right way. If you're in the streets demanding justice, that's way too angry and way too violent. And if you're taking a knee, that's messed up too. I don't know. You really need to just tone it down a little bit with your preachiness. So please just stay away from that. And I know this is like a really like casual thing and he's just like talking. So I don't even want to hold it against him that bad, but like, come on, man. Logical consistency, bro. And then he goes on to say at different points where he says they're right from a moral perspective, or that it's a more socially conscious thing to do, which it's good that he makes that acknowledgement, and then he, almost apologetically says, but I'm too heavy into my culture, and he just says he just can't do it, and there's just not the impetus there. So it's good that he kind of acknowledges that saying that something is culture or something is tradition, like that doesn't automatically mean it's right, because a lot of times people go to that. So it's really good that he's consistent on that. The biggest point I want to make here, though, is about veganism itself. And this is something that I think even a lot of vegans, unfortunately, kind of miss with the messaging. This is not something that's just about individual consumerism. So it's not, just about when we're, animal activists saying, hey, you, eat this, don't eat this, go buy this particular thing. It's not just about our individual choices. It's about broad systemic change. So being vegan is great, but as Corwin pointed out in that video, you know, being vegan, there are problems. Like, there's still harm that's done. That's what he was driving at. So, I mean, between pesticides or animals killed when the tractor goes through the field, exploitative labor practices, the list goes on and on. So, you know, to say that something is vegan is not by any means, you know, this get out of morality free card. It just isn't. There's just factually harm done, you know, even within a vegan diet. What veganism is good for is to make this statement, a political and social statement of non-discrimination, and say, hey, this is the wrong thing to do. Animals are not objects. This is not the world that we should want to live in, or the world that we should strive for. We should strive for a world where animals are respected as the living, feeling individuals which they truly are. And that brings me to the next point where he says, what are we going to do, ban meat? You know, and they both have a laugh about it. But in reality, like, yeah, that's exactly what we intend to do. And there's good reason to believe that. I mean, the general trajectory of moral progress in the first world, you know, we have lots of bad things that happen, but we are becoming more progressive and more inclusive. By and large, we have, you know, gay marriage, we have the Civil Rights Act, so, you know, things are far from perfect, but they are gradually improving. We see, you know, a recent Gallup poll where 32% of Americans favor equal rights for animals and humans. We see increasing numbers of vegans and vegetarians among millennials. Now, as far as having an impetus to act, I think that quite clearly that there should be plenty impetus there, you know, knowing what we know about how broad and how brutal the animal agriculture industry is, and just to acknowledge that we can do so much better in this day and age, the alternatives that we have, you know, to just continue in this process, it's just completely unnecessary. And particularly for somebody like Kyle, who is this respected progressive political thinker, you know, in this new medium of independent media on the internet, there's a lot of influence there. So for him to make a stand and say, hey, this is the direction we're going, this is what we should be focusing on, and for him to go vegan and for him to make a stand on animal rights would be a really powerful thing. So Kyle, if you're listening, I really hope you reflect. I think there's a lot of value in this, and it would really go a long ways towards making this world a better and peaceful place for all of its inhabitants.